And we're live.
Are we live?
We are live.
I'm going to double check with the Facebook page first.
Okay, since this is new, there we are.
It's working. Oh my God, it's working. I can't believe it's actually working.
Before we tie up all their time being crazy going, we're really live. Welcome to the e-commerce show.
Hi, everybody. My name is Brandon Wagner. I'm the CEO and founder of Crumble Candle, the anti-suicide candle company, and this is the e-commerce show. With me is my awesome co-host, Becky J Anderson of BeckyJAnderson.com. She's the founder of many large companies that we won't disclose the money of. And she's been with me through this huge process of growing my company from almost 500,000 now. So we are going to be back now. This is kind of like season 3. We'll be getting a lot of questions and answers. We have an awesome guest today that'll pop in the middle of the show. And that's it, my intro. I did it. It's been a while, but I did it.
Hey, and we have people in the sidebar. Our people are coming back. Yay. We have Bonnie. And Bonnie, I was on a consultation when you called. Becky Wagner, Kay, Lisa, Donna. Yay.
Okay, so where are you seeing that? Is that on the Facebook page?
Over in the right-hand side. So I know Bonnie's the pro on this one. I don't know how to get her or make it so you can see that too. You should be able to see it over on the right-hand side, I would think.
You don't need to teach me, girl.
But for now, I guess I can moderate the comments. But Brandon, tell them about what we're doing on this show, because this season 3 is going to be awesome.
Okay, so we have, remember you guys remember in the group, I did this big mentorship questionnaire and I started writing blog posts on it. I started talking to people one-on-one, but some of them were so good, but so obviously big that were easier to address, in my opinion, on a personal basis to some people. So we are going to be answering those questions live. Today we have a guest and we'll have one every time we do this show. So this week is Scarlett of Zoe's by Scarlett, which is a jewelry company, and we'll be answering some of her questions that can apply to many businesses. And
correct
is, can you actually make a living full-time income doing your business online, like both of us have done? So It's a budding business, and they're going to have a lot of those questions that a lot of starters have. And we have a list of them right here, but we'll also have her on the show as we go through a couple of questions. We'll bring her on after we do the first 1 or 2 questions so that she can put in her input, say hi, and ask any other questions that may be budding in her mind.
Yeah.
And that's the end of today's show, Q&A.
Yeah, and we got the idea for the show. Typically, we go through, on our show, we go through a issue or something that you all want to learn, and Brandon gives 5 things and I give 5 things. But we got the idea for this season based on all of the questions that come in through our Facebook group, the e-commerce show. So if you're not in that group, make sure you go get in that group, that e-commerce show. And that's where we're getting the content, the questions, and the people to feature on this show. So it's important that you be in there. And that will be really cool to be able to be featured here.
The post with all these questions is huge too. There's a lot of great questions in it.
Yes.
And within that post, there's a couple questions breaking down that we're going to go through to start with. And I'm going to go ahead and ping them at you first, and then I'll jump in as well. And I actually did not preface these questions.
I have no idea what questions. Okay, so, yay.
We usually preface questions, but we're going to see how this goes. Maybe we'll be better preempted. So the first question is from Zoe. And again, Zoe runs a handmade jewelry type business. She's a college. Yeah. And her first question is, a big, obvious kind of question: how can I actually make money and focus on my business while still being able to function as a human? So as a college student, I'm sure you can guess, she is swamped with all the things that she wants to do with her career. And a lot of college students want to make businesses for the extra money. They want to make businesses for the full-time income. So how would you manage starting the business while strapped under a busy schedule as a college student?
How would you manage starting it?
Yeah. Is it even feasible?
Yes, it is. You just, it would start with time management for starters.
Yeah.
Every spare minute. And you know what? As long as you're doing forward motion every day, business is a simple formula. It's like, you got to show up every day doing something. You got to be consistent and you got to be visible. And as long as you're continually doing what I call 2 a day, 10 in play, follow up, will always pay. 2 things a day to move your business forward, it's forward motion. Mm-hmm. And you know what? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. There's a lot of people that want to start a business, just never do it, never start. You just have to start.
Don't be that person.
Don't be what?
Don't be that person.
Yeah, just start.
I
And,
really
and,
think that can work.
and start before you're ready. Because here's the other thing. It was so funny. I was at this mastermind retreat in San Diego, and they put up that song, "Don't Worry, Be Happy." And then she flipped up this thing, "Don't worry, be crappy." And she says, too many entrepreneurs wait until it's perfect. And it's like, start before you're ready. If it's crappy in the beginning, so what? You should see my first website. You should see yours. You should see everybody's. And it's hilarious. In fact, people probably laugh at mine now, but guess what? It works. It's forward motion.
Business advice on how they start. They're always like, well, how did you get the idea for the anti-suicide company? And how did you make your packaging so cute? Well, I didn't. I started with packaging that was literally handwritten on a piece of pen and a piece of ugly little tape on the package. My company name was completely different. We had no message, no mission. It was just, hi, my name is Brandon. This is my mom. We make stuff and sell it online. Buy it. That was it. And it grew up to be this huge thing. This year we're hoping to push $1 million.
Yeah. And you know what? It all starts with just forward motion. And the thing is, you have to be willing to pivot and go where the market and the need is. I pivoted my business many times. You've pivoted yours. I'm working with clients right now that are pivoting their business. It's like you put it out there, you try. If it doesn't work, pivot.
You can't be scared to pivot either.
No. And you know what? And a lot of times too, it's making that one phone call or doing that one thing that moves your business forward. I know I've told the story many times about how I got on the airplane and went and saw that rep group just on a whim with no notice. I took the red eye and showed up.
I remember that story. That's a good story. I tell my employees that story.
Yeah, and had I not done that, my business would have never grown like it did. And that opened the door to adding sales reps, in 15 different locations across the country. And within a year, I had 150 sales reps. But it was like, I was scared to death, but I heard there was an opportunity. And guess what? I jumped on a red eye with no notice, and I was at that guy's door at 8:00. So a lot of times it's just doing the forward motion. It's just taking the shot.
And I think another piece is balancing your passions and where the importance is. Your business, you kind of have to decide from the beginning where you're going to start. Is it going to be something that you're going to dedicate time to? Is it going to be something that you actually want to flourish? Or is it just going to be a cash grab? Do you need $50 extra for rent and you want something to do? You don't want to start a business for that. Sell something on eBay. Go make a table at a craft fair. If you want to have an actual business, you need more dedication than just, I need an extra couple of bucks for rent.
I think part of what's made your business and my business successful is we're both working in our sweet spot. When I say your sweet spot, it's like where your passion and your skill set intersect. And then you have a product that people will buy. And it's that little sweet spot of those three things intersecting that make it, because I have never one day in my career felt like I'm working a job, because I am doing something I love every single day. I absolutely love what I do. Don't you? I mean, you wouldn't be doing it if you didn't.
I sit here and I wake up and I do 14.5-hour days, 5 days in a week. Yeah, I still do it tomorrow. So
yeah. And it's like, entrepreneur blood gets in you, and it is what it is. But yeah, I would say start before you're ready would be the answer after that whole circle around that.
Head, and I want to describe it. So if it's a wheel, if it's a pie chart and there's a big middle and it's where success is, and you need to find your in between, you need to have all the strings tightened correctly to be there would be, your passion over here. Yeah,
I can draw it for you. See, so this is your sweet spot right here. Can you see the three? So one would be one circle would be your passion. One circle would be what do you know and you're good at that you could be so dedicated. And then the other one is what's a product or service that would intersect with that people would love.
What's demand? People usually
the demand. Yeah.
If you're skipping what you're passionate about, you're going to be fulfilling the demand, hate it, and quit. If you're not fulfilling the demand, you're going to be doing something, no one's buying it. You might as well be an artist on the side of the street. It sucks to have that sweet spot because it involves quite a bit of testing, which involves quite a bit of time, quite a bit of getting let down, and it's some money. But I think you and me both know that when you succeed in it eventually, whether it takes 2 times or 24 times, worth it immensely. You're talking businesses that are run successfully, can shoot someone up to being a multimillionaire.
Absolutely. And the thing is, like, for me in my business, I loved the product development, the design, that side of it. And so I was continually watching trends And Brandon and I have had a lot of conversations about this, and I've taught him a lot of my tricks and hacks of watching trends. But I became known in the industry as the trend expert because I would go into the buyers and say, okay, I'm not just showing you this candle. I'm showing you a candle that the wax is going to match the Pantone colors that are popular in fashion and home decor. So that if your customer buys this candle, they can also go to Target and buy a pillow or a throw or a rug. And I can guarantee you, I can guarantee you that my wax colors are going to match what's hot. And so I would go in and say, I'm selling this product. I taught trends. I said, I want to show you what's going to be popular this season. And the buyers would go, oh my gosh, how do you know that? How do you know that? And I'm like, I study it. And then I design my products around it. So then I would, so that was my sweet spot. And yet there was a need for the product. So it made my job. I was doing the job for the buyers because it made it easy for them because they knew the products would have a better shot at selling.
When the job's done.
They matched. Yeah. So I took my sweet spot with what I was good at and turned it into a product. And you're doing the very same thing.
Here I am.
Yeah. And you look at what Brandon's doing with his wax cubes, his unique selling proposition. They're so different than everybody else. And then he's put that spin of the anti-suicide, where mine was like breast cancer awareness. It's you kind of tie it all in and have your cause behind it. And it worked.
Causes are huge, especially when it gets to business size. But for even when you're a unique business, you can even use those type of pitches at shows between family and friends who are buying your stuff. When you're starting, that is where you start. Of course, everyone wants to get to the big wholesale clients. Everyone wants to get to the selling tens of thousands of dollars a day. But you start with the friends, with the family, with the strangers on the street, with the craft shows. You learn your pitch.
And if they like it,
yeah.
Not only that, you can nowadays set up a landing page so cheap. You don't even have to have a website. Do a landing page, and you can test it. Yeah, and you can do the drop and drag, build your own website. Hey, come on! If somebody who grew up without technology can build websites now, anybody can do it. Anybody can do it.
About how much she knows more about technology than me. Trying to get on this was driving me absolutely bonkers, and she's just like, "It's easy," and I'm just like, "It ain't easy." Okay, so we are going to go ahead and let Scarlett in the room. Scarlett is someone who will be today and addressing some of her questions.
Is Scarlett over in the sidebar here?
She is. She's watching from her phone. I'm going to go ahead and send her the invite link.
Oh, okay.
Scarlett, you can click it, and then just click that connect to camera type thing, pop in, and we'll make sure your mic's working. And while you're doing that, I will go ahead and bring up that second question. So the second question being, how do you go from just making things get by with extra money to actually forwarding yourself into making an income? So how do you make that switch? Because it's a hard switch, because you can get in the mindset, you can get really sucked in, like if you're selling on Etsy, for example, you get really sucked in the communities around crafting, even the craft shows. Everyone's so much like, oh, I've been just crafting these last 4 months because I would like to pay off a repair I had to my car. It's easy to get sucked into that mindset. So how do you excel beyond it to making it a profitable, consistent business? And a lot of it has to do with, like you said, showing up consistently. But beyond that, what can you do to go from crafter to businessman?
From Etsy?
Yeah, or that's kind of where the crafting crux is. Scarlett, we can't see you.
It's visibility. Okay, there she is. Can you see me? So I'm assuming I click this show button. Does it show? Oh, that just shows her comment. We really should have got a tutorial from Bonnie before we started this. So,
Bonnie!
How do we let Scarlett in the room, Bonnie?
Step one, Bonnie in the room.
So what it's doing is Scarlett says, "Can you see me?" And we're like, "Yeah, we can see your comments, Scarlett." Bonnie says, "As far as I know, Be Life TV only allows 1 or 2 broadcasters." Oh.
Really?
Oh. Okay, Scarlett's going to have to type her questions in. We saw that. It says, "Can you see me?" Yep, we can see that comment. So Scarlett, ask us your questions in the comments.
Yes, feel free to converse with us as we're going through, and we'll try to figure this out. A new platform, new kinks, always fun.
Yeah. Yep, we will. So yeah, Brandon, to answer your question is how can you go from Etsy to a real business? I'm telling you, Etsy can be a real business, but as we talk about all the time you want to diversify your sales buckets, because you can't control your customers on Etsy. And I don't know if I've told you, but one of my big high-level customers that makes a huge amount of money off Amazon got shut down by Amazon a few weeks ago. And it was out of the clear blue. And he was so freaked out, and he's still shut down. And he just got an email. Yep, it probably is. It's my big guy. Yeah. And so he just got an email. He got an email from Amazon. And this is a guy who does millions of dollars of business a year. He got an email and said, "We regret to inform you, but you're shut down." And then he's tried to get him to reverse that. He's tried to appeal. He's tried everything, and they won't. So he's just done on Amazon. And they won't give him any clear, specific reasons other than they said he answered a customer service email late. And it was one of his employees that was in charge when that happened. So that's just a crazy reason to shut down $2 million in sales. But it does. And so you want to be diversified and have as many sales channels as you can. So
the big thing is just control. The biggest thing from moving on to a complete business is taking control of your customer base, taking control of your selling platform, taking control of the way that you make your money, the way that you can present yourself, the way that you can email back, the way that you can run your business. These third-party companies don't care about you. Repeat.
They don't.
Companies do not care about you.
Yeah, they don't. It's absolutely crazy. So the thing is, you want to be diversified, and your own website is one of the most important things to do, because you can control the customer, you can gather information, you can drive sales and promotions with your email marketing. So I would say she needs to get a website quick if she doesn't have one.
Collecting emails, building your list is building. If you follow Crumble Co., you know that our biggest thing is kind of that Facebook group. At least you think so. But the Facebook group is actually a fun, pleasant runoff of our actual powerhouse, which is our email list. So if you go to MailChimp.com, you can join and you can start making your own email list for free. We are not paid to advertise them. It's just who I love and use in my own company.
And still, as big as you've got, still use them.
Still use them. Bills out the ass, but really worth it. What it allows us to do is also we have that connection. We're invited into their inbox.
Yeah.
Every week we get to email people, or every 2 weeks for us. We get to email them in that more personal platform. When you're on Facebook, you're getting advertised everything, and you're competing with their friends and family, which you just cannot do. So when you're in their inbox, they're there with you. That's when you get to talk to them. That's when you get to offer them something for sale. There's a reason these big companies like Kohl's, Walmart, and Target are still using email. It's because it works. It is the most useful tool for a business. It kills beyond a huge...
You're number one. It's the number one thing.
Pages, online socials, Instagram are completely biting the dust in comparison. And if you're in my group, you know how big my group is. And my group seemingly can bring in almost all the business, but the actual email list is everything. My company would shut down if my email list was gone tomorrow. But because it's an email list and it's my intellectual property, which means I have the list backed on my computer and I can move it anytime, it's mine. Yeah. When someone favorites your shop on Etsy, Etsy shuts you down. Etsy's not going to give you those people's information.
No, they're not. They're not. That's like this Amazon guy. I doubt he'll ever be able to get it restored. And it's just crazy. And it's like just one strike and you're out. Not answering an email. And you know what? You're at the mercy on Amazon too of competitors. So for example, Paul got a bad review. He only has 5-star reviews. He got a bad review on his. And it had to be a competitor because they mentioned a competitor's name in the product and go, this guy's stuff works better. And they gave him like a really low rating. And so he filed a complaint trying to get that taken off. But one person can say, oh, I bought from these guys and they wouldn't return it or they had it, it's crazy. You're just at the mercy. You're at the mercy on Amazon. You're at the mercy on Etsy. Although they're both great platforms to sell. Just don't let them be your only ones.
Especially if you're getting started. It's a great way to test your idea to begin with. But you get to choose what's fair and what's not in your business when you actually own the website. And I know the world's becoming weird. It's like, well, is that okay? Is it okay if I can turn off a review? That's horrible. Damn right it's okay. It's your website property. You should be able to say, that's not a fair review and take it off. We get bad reviews every now and again that are just simply not right. And we can either tell that it's a different wax company or someone who's just bitter, whose issue that we've solved. And we will shut a heartbeat. But the genuine wrong reviews in our own morale, we keep up without an issue. So
exactly.
Court.
Exactly. It's so good to see our crew back in here.
Hi, everybody.
Yay! We've missed our Blab show, but here we are. So, okay, so Scarlett was going to give us some more questions, and she hasn't. So,
I have some
somebody
here as well, by the way.
Okay.
Okay, so growing your audience, which we kind of talked about. So beyond Facebook and beyond Instagram, we kind of mentioned it's important to have those both. I mean, Instagram was a big part of me, but we're not just building our Instagram, we're not just building our Facebook when we're building those social platforms. We're trying to build our list. It's great that people are going out of the way to like the page and follow my Instagram, my business Instagram, but I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great to get into their feed and market to them a little bit freer than it would be to pay for ads. But at the end of the day, those platforms should be built around one thing, which is growing your list.
Growing your list. Yeah, your number one objective should be grow your list.
Your website, where they go from those socials, should also be about growing your list. They should be set up to funnel them, shepherding them into that list subscription. So.
Yeah, and if you have a product-based business and you do not have an incentive to get people on your list, you need to come up with one. And there's lots of things they can do. You can do as simple as 10% off coupon. You can do a gift with purchase. You can do, I mean, Brandon, what are some of the things that you've done as an opt-in?
Do 10% off. That's all it is. Price your products 10% more. And, that's something we talk about all the time, pricing your products correctly. Make sure that you're actually profiting. The biggest piece to growing from a handmade company to an actual business is pricing. You can be selling me a bracelet that took you $2 to make and you're trying to charge me $3. That's cute. That's fine. But if it costs you $2 to make, you should be trying to sell it to me a minimum of the 3X roll, which would be $6, or even better, $12.
Right.
For $12 on a bracelet.
Yeah, it will. It will. And there's the misconception in online marketing. People say when you're in the services industries, don't lower your prices. Don't lower your prices. Okay. That's true. In the services, you don't have to. But you know what? In the product-based business, you are competing against millions of people, and you have to be able to have promotions and different things that will drive that sense of urgency that will make them make that decision. If your products are priced high and they're never on sale, or you never have an incentive, or you never have a reason for them to, because it's going to end, take that action, you're never going to get the sales. So that's kind of
Bath and Body Works. The bottom of this bottle will tell you that this is $14 plus tax.
Right.
That's not how they charge their product. They know it's only $7.50 and they're still banking. So they do that buy 6, get 6 sale every couple months. And that's the only time people go out of their way to actually buy these sprays, is when they're priced accordingly. But
they're so smart.
Millions.
They're so smart. And when I had my retail store, I did the same thing. I learned from them. My product was $8 and I'd go 2 for 15 or something like that. And you're only taking $1 off, but it's like you're doing the 2 so that they can get it. But then look at Bath and Body Works. They do that promotion 6 for 24. Well, then guess what? Then they do their 3 for whatever. The math is always the same. It's just they're testing it different. So it's like, oh, this month it's buy 3 for this or buy 6 for this. But when you divide it and do the math, it's always the same, all those promotions. But they're just so
is the
smart.
2 next to each other, where it was buy 1 get 3 or buy 1 get both half off.
Yes, or buy 1 get 1 or BOGO or whatever. They're all, the math is the same every time with Bath and Body Works. They are brilliant marketers. And that's another thing I would say. Get on the mailing list of your competitors and chart and watch what they're doing, because it is a big deal. When they're advertising, they have big marketing staffs that maybe you don't have, but it's all the same. You kind of look through and follow. And I think you follow Bath and Body Works a lot. You've learned that hack.
I follow everyone and everything. I have an email set up separately. It's a private email. No one has access to it but me. And I follow everyone from Lush to Bath and Body Works to Yankee Candle to things that are local. I have lip gloss companies. I have I have makeup stuff. Anything that my customer is going to buy at, I want to know how they're being spoken to. I want to know what they're, because Tony Robinson always says success leaves clues.
Yep, it does. And you know what? It's like you got to have something, and you can't always every month have, a random promotion. So you have reasons and occasions to promote, but then you also have your seasons and events. So one of the reasons I like to follow all my competitors and log it, I want to know when Bath and Body Works puts Halloween out on the floor. I want to know when they start promoting pumpkins for Thanksgiving. I want to know what they're promoting all summer during the J months, because then next year when I'm doing mine, I can be going, And then you can be developing product around it. Just like I know you're doing Easter and you're doing Mother's Day right now, but it's like you have to plan ahead and you have to be aware. And you go, okay, where are you now from where you were last year? I remember last year you were scurrying and going, what am I going to do for this season? What am I going to do? When's the next season? What am I going to do?
Going back to the first thing you said when I asked you the answer to the question of how do you actually manage having a business is just time management. It's changed everything. We've went from what seemed minuscule to make massive. We are very profitable now. We have planned it out. We are making sure that we check our books. We're making sure that we plan months ahead. We have things planned a little bit ahead. We have marketing plans written out ahead, and it makes a huge difference. You know, it's the difference between $10,000 and $100,000.
Time management. When I've been interviewed over the years by different people on the entrepreneurship, they always say, how do you do it and what's the key? The number one key is time management. It really is. And it's like taking your time and planning it. And like I would take the whole year and plan out. I'd start by dropping my big events in, and then I'd reverse engineer and go, okay, the trade shows are here. Here's where I have to have catalogs. And then it kind of gives you these deadlines. And then I would go even deeper and say, okay, now I'm going to go sprint. And I'll take like the catalog or whatever had to be there, and I would sprint, and that's all we would work on until it was done and moved on to the next thing. Of course, you have to fit some things in between there, but you just take those big projects that are planned out and then don't let the other distractions get in your way. You focus on it, and it's how
treating yourself like you're at a job. So when you're calculating your price, make sure you set yourself an hourly price and you accord it into what you're selling. You know, work from a certain hour. If you just did homework at this time, you know, from 6 to 8, you need to actually be sitting there. You need to be crafting. You need to be working. You need to be researching. You need to be doing it, because if you don't show up and you work for me and you're not there from 6 to 8, you're fired. You need to treat yourself as strict as someone above you would.
Right. It is. And you know what? There is not one entrepreneur on this planet that is bad at time management. I would say if you were to take what are the top 5 or 6 skills that all successful entrepreneurs have in common, time management would definitely be one of them.
But I also want to be fair to say, you don't start knowing how to time manage. Mine still sucks in my opinion, but I'm sure at the same time compared to everyone else, what I've gone through with what I'm handling, I'm doing a very good job, and it takes time to learn how to do that. So don't. Yeah,
you do. It takes time to learn everything. I mean, we don't all start out knowing everything, and you have to read to succeed, and you have to learn and test and try, and it's what you do. I read so many books on time management and organization.
Always a headache, but with business, it's the biggest reward.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, did you have any more of Scarlett's questions?
I do have a couple lined up right here. Okay, so let me read it out in my head first. So this is kind of a push forward type question. So when you are going through a lot of things in your life, when life comes up, how do you keep forward with business? Because it's easy when one of your kids gets sick, or when a test comes back as an F, or when one of your best friends, you know, doesn't want to be your friend anymore, or when you lose a loved one, to just put your business completely to the side and forget about it. But the hard thing about entrepreneurship is you can't do that. Your best friend could die, but you need to still work.
Oh yeah, I have an answer for that. Because this can happen, and because I've been an entrepreneur for 25 plus years.
Okay. All the time.
Yeah. Okay. So, and this is, I'm telling you, it took me a few years to figure this out, but this still works. And believe me, it is true. Okay. So mindset is everything. And I know a lot of people think that's hokey or it's woo woo or whatever, but you'll find most successful entrepreneurs read a lot. And I have always read a lot. You know, while I was building my business, I bet I read 3 books a week. And, you know, that's back before you're sucking a lot of time into social media and all that kind of stuff. But I read when I wasn't doing something, and I had a rule for myself. I read a business book. I read a personal development book. I read a business book. I read a personal development book. And it was that way every single time. And I spent so much time studying that personal development that what it does is it makes you so strong that when that kind of stuff happens, you just learn how to deal with it and you process it different, and you don't let it take you down and let it kill your day.
I think the biggest reflip for that for people who are coming up in the current business situation we're in is that, for example, me, I don't read any books. What I do, and most people do, and they don't realize it, you're reading all the time. You're reading articles. You're reading your blogs. So the same thing. I mean, imagine what Becky's probably reading in a day between her business when she's starting. She's probably reading a couple of articles worth of stuff every day anyway. So if you have articles that you like to read, journals that you like to follow, that can be the same way. Reading is irrelevant whether it's a book or it's on screen.
Yeah. I used to carry a book in my car so that if I had to wait for the kids to come out of school, I could consume some pages or a chapter, whatever. I would read it by the side of the bed. I would read it whenever I had downtime. I still love to read. I read a book this past weekend, the whole entire thing. You just can't stop learning because, I mean, it's just how you keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And then as my business got bigger, one of the things I did is I tried to read books, like I'd read one on accounting, then I'd read one on project management, then I would read one on operations, and then I'd read one on managing growth. You just go through the different things because it's how you learn. Mm-hmm. It's how you know how to do things, and it's how you get that expertise. And I would suggest everybody read. I would.
From a mental health background, the only way I can really explain it when handling with, like, if you have anxiety, if you have depression, if you have things like that and you're trying to run a business, is a very kind of hard answer. It's the whole, you do have to keep learning. You have to keep pushing yourself to try new coping methods. You need to work on your mental health as much as you can because you are the boss of your business. You need to be mentally strong. It's an exercise you do every day. It's not easy. You learn how to do certain skills. Coping is a skill. Being calm in hard situations is a skill. Letting anxiety not get a hold of you is a skill. Everyone has so much anxiety in this world. Everyone, even the most common people, even me. But learning how to handle it and letting it affect you little less every single time, it's a skill. It's not something you just switch off. I talk about it all the time in my baton method, but it's a bit more elongated baton method where you slowly come down to that middle where you can start being more confident with your words. And a lot of it's just managing your outer appearance too and managing time management, even though it can hurt inside sometimes.
But it is understanding what makes you feel what you do. Like one of the best personal development books that I read was Dr. Phil's Life Strategies. And I bet I read that 10 times while I was building my business. Mm-hmm. And he has like the 10 life laws in there. And one of the life laws that he said is, and it helped me manage employees better too by reading these. It wasn't just me, it was helping me manage employees. But he said, everyone, and I mean everyone, approaches every situation with what's in it for me. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if you are relating to people and you go, okay, they're upset because they're upset at how it's going to affect them, or I'm upset because it's how it's going to affect me. So then if you can pause and say, hey, you just think about it. But that book was great. And I read a lot of Brian Tracy. I tried to read just as much personal development as I could. And then when life gets in the way, then you kind of have the tools.
Yeah, that's the big having tools. And then when life gets in the way, it gives you opportunity to use those tools and grow those skills because life's going to get in the way. Mm-hmm. So we bound you up. Absolutely,
it's going to get in the way. Yeah. So it gives you those skills to deal with it. So
avoid PD books or personal development books because they think
I love them.
Everyone needs personal development books. Mm-hmm. I sometimes hate getting through them. But I remember back in the day, as my business was still coming up, I would push myself so hard. I'd sit there, I'd allocate a clock, I'd set a Pomodoro. I used to be obsessed with the Pomodoro method. Mm-hmm. And I'd sit there and I'd turn my little tomato timer to 60, and I would sit there and I'd be like, you're not getting up until you read 3 chapters of the book. I don't care if it's Dr. Phil or Oprah. You are sitting down here until you've read it.
Yeah, the personal development is a big deal. It's a big deal. That and the time management.
She started waking up earlier to read. The Miracle Morning is a book that Becky recommended to me. Miracle Morning was a good book.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
It's helping a lot now that I'm having to get up early and I have the kind of methods in my head and it's there. And I choose like to walk to work instead. I'll take the long route.
I think we just answered this.
Yes. We go through.
Okay. I think we just answered it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I will go back in here and make sure we don't have any more sitting around. I think we do. And also another big point that we didn't touch on is you do deserve breaks. You do deserve vacation time. And then sometimes you're so sucked into not having that in your head because you do kind of become a hard ass as a business person. It's kind of the name of the game. You forget to do that. And I know for the longest period of time, I would take one day a week and I would just refuse to look at my phone.
Yeah. And see, one of the problems I always had is my business was my hobby. It was my passion. So I had a really hard time turning it off.
Lord, does that suck sometimes.
And I think I went way too many years without ever turning it off because that's what it was. You know, and it's still, Paul would rather golf on his day off. I would rather work on my website.
I know.
And then Paul goes, I feel bad golfing because you're working. And I'm like, you have to remember, this is not work to me. This is how I'm recharging. You go golf. Let me work on my website.
Sometimes that's what you need to do. Different kind of stuff that you don't always get the time to do when you're actually working on your business. You know, I love website and graphic design when it's on my own time, when it's not on like a timeline, when it's not on a to-do list, when it's just what you want to make today. So sometimes getting creative, any outlet that you have, whether it's in your business or not, just make sure you spend time to actually do it.
Right. To do what recharges you. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's the same advice for college students too, because college can be so draining. Yeah.
Bonnie knows me well. She goes, that is fun for Becky. I'm like, yeah, that is. The techie stuff I love. That is my recharge, the techie stuff.
Hold on. I'm looking at another question.
Another one.
Okay, here's a fun little, how about this be like the last question we jump into, and it could be a hot question. So how do you successfully market on Facebook?
Facebook ads,
People avoid ads because they're like, but that's money.
But let me tell you something. The number one way to market on Facebook is to be consistent. Mm-hmm. It's to be consistent and have a presence. You've just got to show up. Build
on top of your failures. Don't let your failures bury you because you're going to fail. You're like 99.99999% of everybody else. You're going to fail flat on your face the first time.
Yeah. And funny you would say on Facebook. Okay, so I'm doing a series, 100 hacks in 100 days on Facebook. So I'm doing that right now. Different things, 100 ways that you can build your Facebook. I'm going to be putting that out pretty quick here. But there are so many tricks and hacks that if you just took the time to just do one little thing every single day, where you'd be in 100 days on Facebook. Like, for example, when you have someone like a comment on your Facebook page, did you know that you can go click on all the people that liked it and invite them to like your page?
Right. That was a big tool when I was growing.
What if you did that every single time you put out a post? Mm-hmm. That's huge. And I think a lot of people don't know that one.
That come and goes though. So if you go to Facebook right now, it might be working, it might not be working. Sometimes when I go to my work computer, it doesn't work. But that's one of the weird things that Facebook, they're always testing different versions. So with Facebook stuff, any of the lessons that you're learning through us or through anywhere else, you have to just be patient. Sometimes Facebook will switch you to something else. Sometimes you have to check your computer. Facebook is always beta testing versions without telling us.
They are, but let me tell you something about Facebook. Out of all the things and all the places and the ways to advertise or to promote, Facebook is where the most people are.
Yeah.
And I sit down with clients all the time and I say, where are your customers coming from? Where's your customer? And they always say, oh, Instagram or blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, prove it. Let's pull up Google Analytics. And almost every single time, and I tell them before we pull up their Google Analytics, I say, okay, your number one traffic is going to be Facebook and your number two is going to be Pinterest. And they don't believe me. And then they go look and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm putting zero effort into Pinterest. Pinterest is a search engine like Google. I would seriously put more time and energy into Pinterest than Instagram, hands down, any day of the week. Now, I know you grew a lot.
Yeah. Once I switched over, we maybe 10x.
Yeah. But
we did 6x.
I spend very little time on Instagram because it doesn't bring any traffic. It's like you go where the traffic is and where.
Ass off for Instagram traffic. I thought it was the king, the creme de la creme. No.
It got you started, but it could not take. There's no way Instagram could have taken you to where you're at.
No.
So Facebook and Pinterest are the two biggies.
Playing with your ads, we're always talking about. I always share my ad method. It's the whole giveaway type method using MailChimp and using Facebook groups because you can also grow that group on the side. A big part of Facebook marketing is also having a Facebook group, having a community, managing it, and talking to your customers helps you grow your business and learn what they want. And when you give people what they want, and when you're supplying the demand, especially if you have slight string to make the demand, it will catapult for your business.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Ta-da.
Well, I feel bad we couldn't fit Scarlett in, but at least we had our questions. So now we know for the future, the person who's going to be on the hot seat, we have them send their questions in ahead. And we will go through their questions and we can spotlight and put their business.
That was good. Glad we have a list of questions ready, though. My goodness.
Yeah. So that was fun. We're glad to be back, and we so appreciate all of you guys being here with us and coming to visit. And we'll be back same time next week, right, Brandon?
And it'll be on our Facebook page, which is not normal, and we're going to figure that out. We are figuring a lot of stuff out. Hopefully, we'll be back next week. And as always,
hopefully, we will be back. The key is consistency.
I'm sitting here like, hopefully, because if it ain't going to work.
You will find us every week. No, it's live on our Facebook page right now. The key is getting everyone to go like our page so we know we're there.
I know, now we got to pivot, like we talked about.
We pivot when we have to pivot. Yeah, Blab is gone.
Oh my
Facebook
God.
Live is here. We're embracing it.
Of not liking pivots. I hate this pivot more than anything. I loved Blab, but
Me too, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So Facebook Live and BeLive.tv is where we will be next
all
week.
you gotta know about is peeling the Facebook Live. I think it's pretty easy. I think it's easier for them than it was before, which is good.
Yeah. So that would be a wrap, but you can find me at BeckyJAnderson.com and Brandon at
Crumbleco.com.
Crumbleco and BeckyJAnderson.com. Make sure you're on both our lists to get all of our stuff that's coming up, and stay tuned to all of our shows.
We'll make sure to get all these replays on the eCommerce show website as soon as possible. We're still editing everything. I kind of was in a tight little strap a little bit before this, but I'm happy to be back.
They'll be there. They'll be up on YouTube.
And they'll
All
be
right.
on Facebook Live automatically, no work.
Sure. Don't you love Brandon's poses? Okay. Bye, y'all.
See you guys next week.